Richmond Athabasca. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals keep repeating that the whole PM interference scandal is untrue and that the file is closed. And the leader keeps on saying this morning that all this information is public now. And as if this is true, will her or the Prime Minister agree to make all the documents from his former clerk of the Privy Council, Mr. Wernick, available to all Canadians right now? Yes or no? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, the members who sit on the Justice Committee asked to hear from witnesses. The witnesses came, they provided their testimony, and the members who sit on the Justice Committee asked to have additional documentation, and now we've seen that these documents were presented to the committee so that the members who sit on the committee can see them. And these documents are public for all Canadians to see. But I think that's rich now that the Conservatives are trusting the media. This wasn't the case for 10 years under Stephen Harper. The Honourable Member for Richmond Athabasca. I don't think the leader is listening to my question. The question is simple. La Presse asked to have access to the documentation from the former Privy Council clerk, Mr. Wernick. And the answer they received, well, unlike what is usually the case, 30 days, that these documents would only be available in 240 days. This means after the upcoming elections. If the Prime Minister has nothing to hide, how come he can't make all this information available to Canadians? The Honourable Government House Leader. The members who sit on the Justice Committee made a decision. So they were able to have a discussion in public so that Canadians could hear all the testimony. The Prime Minister waived solicitor-client privilege and cabinet confidence, and I think it's very important for us to have trust in our institutions. We know now that these documents were requested, and now they're going to receive these documents. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
I don't think the Government House Leader is hearing the question, so I will try again. We have learned that the Prime Minister's office is refusing to provide basic information to the Quebec paper La Presse on the SNC-Lavalin scandal until, get this, after the next election. Now, by law, access to information requests are supposed to be responded to within 30 days, but this Prime Minister, in his desperation to cover up, seems to think he's above the law. Why is the Prime Minister obstructing media's access to information in order to cover up his deceitful behavior?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to reassure the member that I am able to hear, and I hear their question because they choose to repeat the same question for the entirety of question period. This is not the first day that they've done this, Mr. Speaker. They have been done this for weeks on end, and when I answer, they like to shout and scream because they don't want to hear the answer. What is clear is that the Prime Minister has waived solicitor-client privilege as well as cabinet confidence so that Canadians can actually listen for themselves. All of these discussions have taken place in public so that Canadians can actually hear for themselves. It's important that they be able to, and that member has also confirmed that those documents will be received by letter.
The Honourable Opposition House Leader.
Interesting answer, Mr. Speaker. Gerald Butts, who is no longer in the Prime Minister's office, seems to have unfettered and instant access to government texts, emails, and documents as he continues his campaign to try to discredit the former Attorney General. But when the media requests important information, it's nothing but refusals, obstructions, and delays. So my question is for the President of the Treasury Board. It is clear that the Prime Minister is abusing his power in order to stop important information from being revealed. The Prime Minister is moving heaven and earth to cover up his obstruction and his deceitfulness. Why? President of the Treasury Board.
Honourable Government House Leader. Order.
Let the facts speak for themselves. The Justice Committee, which has members of all recognized parties, were at committee.
Order. It is shameful that I can't hear the answer. Members need to behave in a way that Canadians can appreciate. They don't appreciate this kind of behavior of heckling, so let's not have any of it. The Honourable Government House Leader has the floor.
I'll try that again. So there are members from all recognized parties in this House that sit on the Justice Committee. The Justice Committee met. They set parameters when it comes to these allegations. And the Conservatives actually were saying that the Justice Committee will never meet. It met for over 5 weeks on this issue, which is longer than most pieces of legislation are even studied. And then they called witnesses. And to ensure that witnesses would be able to share with Canadians, the Prime Minister waives solicitor-client privilege as well as cabinet confidence. All matters are public for Canadians to see. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable